Speaking of podcasts, welcome to the mortgage marketing podcast. I am one of your hosts, Dan Cooley. I am the content strategist here at Princeton Mortgage. With me, as always, is Joe Pakula, senior marketing manager at
You
Princeton
already know
Mortgage.
me. I don't even need an introduction.
Don't
man.
even need one.
You don't need one.
Don't even say anything. And we're here to talk to you about, just tips for our marketing family out there. Everyone from people working at Princeton Mortgage, people not working at Princeton Mortgage, whether you're an LO or a real estate agent or anybody, and you want to up your marketing game. That's why we're here. So I'm excited for today's topic because I think it's a really, really important one. And it's just the importance of video when it comes to social media, and when it comes to telling your story in general. And then, of course, we have some tips for you to help make your video better. So right off the bat, let me just ask this, Joe, what is your experience with video and social media? Do you do a lot of video for your personal social media?
I don't do enough video. I think you can't really talk about how valuable it is enough from a marketing standpoint or a branding standpoint. It's just people are engaged with it. People want to see people's faces more than anything. When you're scrolling through the feed and you see something moving, so much so that Facebook and LinkedIn and all these Instagram, all these other platforms have done this. They used to have. You used to have to push play on all of the videos when you're scrolling through the feed. Now they've got autoplay, so it's they want you to get caught in somebody else's video. So I think I don't do it enough. I think you could probably, if you could argue every post should be a video, especially for platforms like TikTok and the Reels roll out from Instagram. So I think video is just super valuable. The more you can post, the more traction you're going to get, and there's stats to show that and defend all of that. So more video, the merrier.
I totally agree with you, and we're kind of almost circling around an important thing, which is these platforms value video. So let's break down what the job of these platforms are. The job of these platforms, love it or hate it, is to keep you on the platform and engaged. That's what they want. That's why YouTube is the gold standard at the end of the day with these different types of platforms, because once you get on YouTube, your odds of staying on YouTube are much higher than any other social type platform. And so, not only does it work better video, but the platforms actually, from an algorithm standpoint, value video more, right? So if you put out video, it's more likely to be seen, it's more likely to be engaged with. And to what you said, Joe, human beings our brain from the minute we're born is trained to look for human faces. And so it's one of those things where it's if you're going to post, there should be a human person, a face staring in the video or staring in the post back at you, right? So a graphic is worse than a picture is worse than a video of a person talking. And so that's one of those.
I'm looking for an old advertising book from my college days, sitting around here at my desk right now. But there's definitely a rule. I think it was Ogilvy or somebody, one of those famous ad guys. They did a psychological study, and it's they started using people's faces more and more in print advertising. Now this is back in the 40s, 50s. Whenever these big ad agencies of New York, the Mad Men, were kind of coming to fruition. The psychological study was people, when they're flipping through a page or flipping through newspaper, they are so much more likely to be drawn to a human face, and they want to human psychologic is they just want to stare at people's faces and analyze it and stuff. From it sounds a little bit weird and creepy, but it's also the human faces. People want to look at people. They are people. They want to see what other people look like. They want to stare at them. So it's it only makes sense that fast forward to 2022. That video is becoming so important, and using your face in video and talking and stuff is really going to stop people in their feed, because the psychological thinking doesn't really change all that much. It's still there. We're still humans at the end of the day.
No, you're totally right. I mean, anyone that's had, if you're listening to this and you're a parent, then you've seen this on full display with your kids, right? Where it's just that moment when I'll never, for both of my kids, the first moment that sticks in my mind is that first time that they like zeroed in on me or my wife, like on another human, right? Because when they're first born, they're kind of all over the place. They're but that first time that you like are talking, and I'll never forget, I was talking to my wife and I said something and I looked and my son was staring me directly in the eyes and I was like, hey buddy. And then like my wife got up and like walked and he like followed her and I was like, oh, like you're on, like you've turned on, you're here. And so like I think that never goes away. We get so much information from hearing another person speak, see, and all the micro expressions that we can't put our finger on. You meet someone and you're like, I like them, I trust them, and you don't even know why. Nothing, there's no reason you should. You just met that person, but something about them. The inverse of that is you meet somebody and you're like, I don't know, something about that person just rubs me the wrong way. Right. And so you could be right or wrong, but that's like, it's so important. And if advertising is about getting as much information across, in as short a period of time as possible, then video, there's nothing better than video. I mean, at the end of the day.
I was just having a conversation with a friend the other day, and who's not in like a marketing and he's like a doctor, so like he doesn't really have his head wrapped around these like analytics and stats in these kind of marketing ideas each day. But he was saying like he was like, Spotify just rolled out that podcasts will now have video on Spotify, and he was like, why the hell does that make sense? He's like, if I'm listening to a podcast. Well, I was like, well, you gotta look at it. Like, look at YouTube. People go on YouTube and they listen to podcasts and they have like a visual thing. They just want to like put like a face to the voice that they're hearing, like for an hour long each day or every other day. So it only makes sense that like Spotify is following this trend and like musically native podcast and like audio platform. That like now they're adding a video function where you can watch the video of like podcasts as well. They're following suit of like YouTube. YouTube's been kind of running the market on these like video kind of. I'm sure this will be posted on YouTube, so I'm sure like we're right there too. So
yeah, it will.
I think it's just very interesting that like obviously Spotify puts a lot of money in their ad research and researching department. So it only makes sense that like they would open up a video platform.
There must be some data out there that that's basically like the advertisers are going to get a higher ROI if there's video out there, and it's just, and it's hard when you break it down like that. It seems very cold, but it kind of is what it is. But at the same time, I'm a big believer in, if you want to see what like the next 5 years will look like, look at the younger generation and what they're into, and that will like inevitably come and sweep into the mainstream. And for the longest time, I was an acting teacher for a long time as my main gig, and then always part-time after that until recently. And YouTube was like, everyone always knew that, like, oh, young kids, they're always on YouTube, they're watching these YouTube videos or whatever. It's like, it's almost like podcasts were like a way for the older generation to like get into vlogging, because it was like, no, I'm listening to, it's like the news, like I'm listening to this radio. Yeah. It's like, and then it gets to a point where you're just like, well, I want to see what they look like. I know that you and I are both a fan of a Sixers podcast called The Rights to Ricky Sanchez. I have to say the name in case they ever see this. If I don't say the name, I'll be banned.
Say the name.
Say the name. So we're both big Sixers fans. We listen to that podcast. When something big happens for the Sixers, I always go and watch it on YouTube instead of listening to it recently, because it's like, I want to like be with my friends. Like, it's like, no, these are my friends. I want to hear what they have to say.
Community.
It's the community. So video, look, to run down some of the numbers here, 25% of marketers say live video is the most valuable type of social media content. Live video is becoming much like more and more and more of the thing. I think there's my guess, and I'd love to hear your thoughts, I think there's a trust element to live video where it's like, we all know deep down, like they didn't get to edit this. Like whatever they're saying is their actual thoughts in this moment. What are your thoughts on that?
It's a live mic. The mic is hot, so
like
yeah, it's like you're getting a pure feed, right? Like, because like you see a lot of these like edited videos, and you're like, Especially like the ones where it's like cooking or something, and it's like
Mm.
it didn't take them 5 minutes to like cook that thing. They cut out like the whole part where like the onion made them cry, and they had to like they cut their hand and they had to wash it off. They dropped the onion on the floor. They had to get a new onion. Their kid ran it. Like that's all edited, and like that's not exactly how these things are made. So I think there is like definitely like a trust aspect from like the live video because it's live. The mic is hot, so whatever they say is going to be used, and it's worked for a lot of people and worked against for other people. But yeah, I agree with you for sure.
Yeah, and yeah. I mean, I think it's just it literally is just like, oh, like this person is off the cuff talking to me. I can trust that what they say is who they are more. So it's not even that like I can trust what they say, but it's more like if I get a bad vibe about them, like I can kind of trust that vibe. You might not be thinking it, but deep down, there's a part of our brains that are constantly trying to protect us and
Yeah.
it's that evolution thing. It's like, can I trust this person? And so there's that arithmetic going on in all of our heads all the time. The other thing is that half of social media users prefer video over other types of content. And I know that I remember in the past, I don't remember how long ago, but I do very distinctly remember walking around going, yeah, 30% of people prefer video. And so it's like headed in that direction of like, no, it's just like, it's becoming the way of things. Video is the way of things.
And I'm going to shout out like another podcast. I think it was the Shred podcast that they were talking about YouTube a few weeks ago, and whoever the guest was, and I apologize, I don't remember the name, but like they said, it was like 80% of like adult humans have like interacted or like have an account with YouTube or you have used YouTube, which is like pretty astounding. Like there's always like that faction of people that like just don't use anything. I would have expected that number to be much lower. Like I'm sure my dad, who's 70 something, is using YouTube for whatever reason, and like I don't know. He's not on TikTok. He's not on. He's not on these other platforms. So I would have expected that number to be a lower trend but like it was pretty shocking to hear that like 80% of like humans have been on YouTube at some point or know about YouTube. So it just tells you like video is king, right? Like
100%.
Everybody knows about YouTube.
Love them or hate them, Google is like I mean, I guess Amazon could fight them for this, but I feel like Google is the most pervasive company in ever. I mean, I use Google every single day. Every single day I'm using one of their products, if not multiple products. And you brought up Shred Media. Josh and Shred Media are awesome. If you're in the mortgage industry and you're not already checking out Shred, I highly recommend it. Their website is shredmedia.io. They have great podcasts. They're doing this weekly video series also, speaking of video. And I know they do I'm pretty sure all their podcasts are on video. I know I've seen a lot of them are. So yeah, Josh and Shred Media, really, really cool. Awesome niche he's like carved out for himself, I think.
Yeah, for sure. There's endless streaming possibilities for them.
Yeah, 100%. So again, video is the way to go. And so let's talk about like a couple of the big things that jump out right away, because everyone already knows this. I feel like every time I talk to a loan officer or someone in the industry, I bring it up. They're like, I know I got to do video, and it's like, I think what happens is a couple things. One, I think people get freaked out, like just straight up. I know that the idea of doing video, even hearing this, we probably should have led with this. We probably lost people listening because the idea of it like makes your stomach hurt. It's just like, I can't even imagine putting myself out there on video. I hate how I sound. I hate how I look. I going live. What would I even say? These are the things I'm hearing all the time. And so, what I want to do is first, I want to help give some tips, that will help you feel a little bit better about it. But the main thing I want to put out there is that I really encourage you to not over edit yourself when it comes to video. Obviously, you want to be careful what you say. In a compliance industry like the mortgage industry, you really want to know that you're not saying anything that's not compliant. I'm not talking about that. But I think what happens is you'll record and watch and hate it, and record and watch it. I've had loan officers tell me, I would put more video out, but it takes me 4 hours to make video. And it's like,
Yeah, because you're comparing yourself to like somebody who's like a professional. They've got a professional camera equipment. They've got an editing team. They've got a guy
right.
with holding a boom mic, and then you're like, well, mine doesn't look like that, so I got to reshoot it. I got to reshoot it. Like, so you get in your head too much, and it's like you just got to get it out there. I can recall working with one loan officer. We were doing these like intro videos, and it was really just like talking about like, hey, introduce yourself to social media, get yourself out there. And like we almost gave them like bullet points, kind of like talking points. Hey, like riff off of this and go, like run with it. And dude started like sweating bullets, had a panic attack, recorded like the first 3 words he wanted to say, and like left the room. And it's like, I get it, like everybody gets scared, but it's like, it's not that big of a deal. It's not the end of the world. Like, you skip over your words, that's great. Everybody skips over their words. Like that comes off more pure. To your point about live video, like,
Yeah,
people like that, to see that humanity in people.
it's so hard for people, and I do recognize that. I'm like a sicko who never has. I don't dislike myself on camera. I don't get freaked out by it. My background is acting, but I know a ton of actors that hate it. I'm like, I don't know if I'm a narcissist. I don't know what's going on.
Psychopath.
I'm a psycho. But at the same time, I think what happens is people get too freaked out about not being perfect. The good news is people don't want perfect video. They don't want perfect content anymore. It feels fake. It's like it's like if a salesman walked in, like perfect hair, perfect everything, like perfect like pitch. It feels a little snake oil salesy. It feels a little fake. It feels definitely fake, but it feels like I can't trust you. So being yourself is important. The first bit of advice that I have before we go over like audio, lighting, everything else, is record yourself doing it without watching. Record yourself 2 times, maybe max 3. Don't look at any of them. Watch all 3 of them and commit to yourself that you're going to send one of those out. Do not overdo it. Like 30, your video should be under 60 seconds anyway, unless you're going full, like I'm gonna do like 15-minute long episodes of a thing. But your video for like the clips should be like 60 seconds. Put it out that record it 3 times and make yourself choose one of them, whichever one you hate the least, and just put it out. If it's good, people will like it. If it's not good, they will not remember that you put it out, and they will not care. No one is going to hold it against you. It will just fly past them in their news feed. So it's a no lose situation.
Right. Yeah. You're absolutely right. No lose situation. That's a good way to put it.
Unless you go out there and say something horrible or whatever, no one is going to, but if you're just like, hey guys, like I wanted to give you an update on the mortgage industry. Rates are going up and I know they can be really scary. Here are my tips on it. Okay, have a great day. People are either going to like it and respond to you or whatever, or they will forget you ever did it.
You can even argue there is a no lose situation. Like I'm just thinking like Jake Paul in Japan, man, his career skyrocketed after that YouTube
video. I mean that's the thing about our world right now is like things are going by so fast that we forget really quickly what happened a couple weeks ago. I mean, look at without getting into it at all or even talk about it, like just look at what's going on in our world right now. Go back through. I don't remember what happened 3 months ago. I literally I can't even remember it. It's so big, it's so crazy, and so the whole point of putting out video of all of these activities for a marketer is just like making sure that you are top of mind. We did an episode on this. I encourage you to go back and listen to it or watch it. But we it's about staying top of mind. And so I've had, this is all anecdotal, but I've had a lot of loan officers who have gone deep into like, I'm going to commit to putting out at least 1 video a month, like every single month. And what they're telling me is that it's not necessarily that people are commenting a lot or sharing a lot or whatever, but they're a couple months in and they've had a couple of loans come through where it's like, yeah, I love you. Like, I love your videos. And they're like, I only did like 2 or 3 videos. And it's like, yeah, they're not remembering you. They're not like, oh my God, at minute 3 in that one video when you said this.
Right.
But it's just like, yeah, I remember you. You do stuff, you put out video, it's helpful. And so when I needed a loan, I thought of you. Or my cousin needed a loan, so I sent him to you. So it just aids the top of mind so much.
Yeah, building that little niche in their brain. Yeah, it helps for sure.
Exactly right. So a couple of the rules. So let's start with audio. So I would say that like the number one thing, so there are a couple things that like people focus on. Oh, my hair, my this, my that. No, if anything else, your audio can't be cringeworthy. If someone's gonna turn off your video, it's not because your voice, like, oh, my voice is so annoying. No one thinks that about you. Like 90, like, oh, I'm willing to bet money on that. If someone comes and goes, people hate my voice, my voice is the worst, I would put money down without even hearing them. No one like thinks of your voice that much. That they're like, I hate their voice. It's you. It's your insecurities. We all have it, except for me again, because I'm a psychopath. But what you really want to do is really focus in on your audio and just make sure that the quality is not horrible, right? So first and foremost, the Goldilocks rule: not too loud, not too quiet. You can't be screaming into the mic. You can't be talking like this and whatever. It's gonna make people like either go, oh, it's too loud, and turn it off, or go like, oh, I can't even hear this person next.
To even like the audio quality aspect of it, like, damn, we spent the first 5 minutes of this call. I was closing programs on my laptop because I didn't want my laptop fan interrupting like the audio quality of this call. So like, yeah, I mean, it's really important. We spent 5 minutes doing it before this call itself. So yeah,
it's one of the few things that will shut down. Like if you and I were going to record and one of our mics was all messed up, like we're not going to push through that, right? If we were about to record and you felt a little sick, but you're good, but you're like, oh, my brain's like not fully in it, we could actually like work through that. Like maybe I'll talk more, which I am prone to do anyway. Whatever. But
you could go back to like 2 or 3 episodes of this. I had COVID at the time and I was coughing through the whole thing. I kept muting myself. Like we worked through it.
Right. Well, I'm glad you're over it. But yeah, like we pushed past. We just put like, it's fine. But if your mic kept cutting out, it's like, we got to stop the episode. Like we can't, it's going to drive people nuts. Smaller rooms cut down on echo. That's another great tip. So it's like, you want to make sure that you're in a smaller room. A lot of people, when they're doing non-video podcasts, they will like go in their closet because the clothes will like dampen the sound or mute the sound a little bit. But whatever the case, you just want to make sure that you are not in like a giant. I think a lot of people, when they're doing video, they're like, oh, I'm gonna go to like the boardroom of my company. It's like, that is the opposite of what you want to be doing. It's gonna sound like you're in an empty boardroom, and that's a problem. You brought up your fan, turn on, try to make sure fans are off. If you have the TV on in the background, anything that could distract people. I think a lot of people, I'm a big fan of Stephen Pressfield's book, The War of Art. One of the things he talks about is the resistance. It's this idea of like these things that we make up to stop ourselves from like accomplishing things. I think a great example of that is, I want to do a video, but I have to get like a mic first. I want to do a video, but I have to get like a lighting kit first. It's like, nope, you don't have to do any of those things. Our phone, this is a better camera. right. This is a better camera than I could have bought for $10,000, 15 years ago. You're fine. There are some cheap, if you're going to do a podcast, there are definitely cheap mics that you can get, but it's not a must. It's not something you need to be doing all the time.
Yeah, and some of this stuff is really attainable. Like, I know we're going to talk about it in a little bit, but like, you can get like these social media or vlogging or like these podcasting kits off Amazon for like 20, starting at like $25.
It's true.
Like, and you're good to go. Like, that's all the equipment you need. Obviously, if you get, thousands of followers, maybe you want to up your equipment game at that point, but like that should not be a hindrance for you to just get started.
Definitely
not get started.
And I would say when you feel that moment of resistance, like, oh, well, you know what, I'm going to do it, but I got to buy the kit first. I got to do whatever. It's like honestly, the thing you should do is whip out your phone right then and record a video. Yeah. Like right then.
Right.
You're better off just getting rip the Band-Aid off and post something. Even if it's you just going, hey, I made this salad. Look how good it is. I mean, at very least, it'll be people going like, oh, he seems approachable. I like salad. Right. The next thing is good lighting. So like, I would even call myself out right now. My lighting is not excellent. I used to have better lighting before I decided to, like, I wanted my backdrop to be cooler. So I flipped my desk around and whatever. Now a lot of my lighting is my screen. You can even tell I have like a blue tint to my face as compared to Joe's beautiful bronzed face.
Again, the first 5 minutes of this call is moving my setup around because my laptop is against a like giant window, so I knew the lighting would be right and it would be like a little bit better than my other angle, which is just the glow of my computer screen, which would feel dungeness. So it's like, yeah, the lighting is super important. We spent the first 5-10 minutes of this call trying to adjust my fan so the audio was right, adjusting my setup so the lighting was right. Like we did all these things we're preaching.
100%. And to give everyone kind of a word picture, Joe's, like, he says he's looking out a window. He owns a private island in the Caribbean. So Joe's looking out at beautiful white sand beaches that are 6 miles of it all his. Yes. Joe is, so just to give you an idea of like Joe's lifestyle a little bit.
Yeah, the lighting is always right.
Yeah, it's always perfect. On Isla Joe, where he lived. No, so a couple things with the lighting, like as much as, and I totally agree with you, like it is not hard to get good lighting at this point, and it is not hard to learn about good lighting. Like a little bit of Googling will teach you a ton, or you can just buy one of those kits, go on YouTube. There are thousands of videos about it. But the other thing is, like, let's say you're like, all right, Dan, I want to get off right now and literally like make a video right this moment. I don't want to wait. I want to do it. I have an idea. All you have to focus on in the short term is like, you don't want to be crazy bright and washed out. Right? You don't want to be crazy dark. Like as much as I don't love my video quality right now, it's perfectly fine to record something at this level. And so don't talk yourself out of it by getting like freaked out about like, oh well, you know what, it's not perfect. It doesn't have to be perfect. As long as it's not crazy, like low quality and grainy, as long as it's not super washed out or super dark, you're good to go. Just go for it.
Right. I could say even like I used to do some product photography at like one of my old positions, and we would just like, we had all of this like crazy lighting equipment. I hated using it because it was like 2 hours to set up. You had to sync everything. I would just be like, you know what? It's a cloudy day outside. It's like it's a little overcast. The sun is not too bright. It's perfect. Let's just go outside. Let's set up a white backdrop and just shoot it against that. Like that's all you need sometimes. Sometimes you trick yourself into thinking you need thousands of dollars of equipment and lighting and stuff. And it's like really just like your natural resources are right there. It's just maybe you have to adjust it a little bit or like move in a certain angle so, the sun is not shining right in your eyes or something. But it's like you have everything available to you.
You're better off learning those things, like how to adjust settings on your camera or how to adjust, like work with the natural light. Then like, because again, going back to and maybe we'll do a whole episode on this idea of resistance. Like you go and you're like, okay, I need lighting, so I'm gonna buy it. And then it comes, you're like, oh, now I got to learn how to use it. And now it's like you're just giving yourself so many opportunities to not do the thing. Just record, just do it. Don't worry, it's gonna be okay. No one's gonna hate you. But I'm not like trying to even be insensitive. Like I think that's what it boils down to. Like people are gonna think I look bad. People are gonna think I look dumb. People are gonna think and it's like you're good. Just if people are gonna work with you, this goes back to something we talked about in another episode. If people are gonna work with you, they're gonna work with you because just like it's like that rule with like if your kid was going to middle school, you're not gonna impress everybody. Not everyone's gonna love you, but you're gonna find your people that do like you and do love you, and they're your people. And so I think it is the same thing in business. Like Mark Gordon, who's our chief revenue officer, was talking about finding your culture fit. And it's like, I'm never going to be the go-to for like, someone who's spending $1 million on social media for their real estate campaigns and are like all flash and all like, kind of perfect. It's just not me. It's not who I am. But I do understand how to work with small businesses and medium-sized businesses and how to connect with like just like kind of your average Joe. And those are going to be my people. Right. And so you got to be true to yourself. And I think that the same is with these videos. Like if you're trying to come across as something you're not, it's going to stick out. You want to just be yourself, show them who you are, all the warts and wrinkles and everything else. And let them still want to work with you based on that. Those are your clients you're going to work with for a long, long time.
Yeah, absolutely.
So the next thing is frame composition. All right. So you want to be kind of in the middle of the frame, like Joe and I are right now. You want your head to be not too far up, not too far down, not too much space. You want about this much space roughly.
Headspace.
Little headspace up there, top of the frame. You want the bottom of the frame hitting you right in the middle of the chest, maybe a little bit below. Try to make sure your background's not too distracting. Your cat playing the ukulele in the background, whatever it is. And then the last couple of tips that we have are like
that's funny about the cat, Dan, because I was on a Zoom call last night with a couple friends.
Yeah.
And we have like, we're all, distant apart, but we have this like book club where we talk about a different book each month. And like one of the people had like a cat walking around in their background of the whole hour or 2 hour discussion. And like I could not look at anything else till like that point about like the cat playing the ukulele. I could not look at anything. I'm like, well, is the cat on the dresser? Oh, the cat's on the dresser. The cat's on the like. I couldn't look at anything else. And so it's very true about the cat.
Yeah, I'm telling you, like animals. I mean, especially with work from home and stuff, just like having distracting things in the background, especially if you're trying to like give someone a bunch of information in 60 seconds. It's just like like human beings, we're gonna find the part that is like most interesting, and let's be honest, it's the internet. It's mostly your cat.
Right.
A couple of other tips real quick. Don't try to act or put on a show. I think that goes with everything we've been saying. You really want to just try to like one thing that this is actually a second tip. I'm going off of a sheet that I have, by the way, a PDF that I made. I'll make sure that we get this up on the website so that we can link to it in the description, because I think there's some good stuff on here. But one way to get around that, and this is like an acting tip, is just picture someone that you're comfortable with, or that you would actually want to give the information you're talking to. So let's say you're a realtor and you're giving information about, putting your house on the market. Talk as if you're talking to your son or daughter. Talk as if you're talking to a sibling or a best friend. What if they were trying to put a house on the market? How would you tell it to them? So that it's more natural. It feels like you. Again, one of the things we're trying to do is convey who you are through these videos, and by showing yourself in a real situation. So take some time to really, have it be like, all right, I'm just talking to my best friend. Here's the information. Don't keep stopping yourself. I think a lot of people are like busy listening to themselves as they're going, and like self-editing. Get out of your head. Get out of the way. Focus all in on who you're talking to. If it helps, really have that person on the Zoom call with you as you're recording or in person, and really just talk to them. But you can't listen to yourself and keep, I stuttered right there. It's like, maybe you didn't.
I do that, Dan. I'm sorry, don't want to cut you off.
No, please.
I've done that 4 times during this podcast since we've been talking. Like I go back and I'm like, did I say the right thing? Did I say that? And then you're talking and I'm not even listening. So it's really important. So I have to get better at it, but like it's definitely like a very good tip, because you will lose track and you will not know what you're talking about.
It's that, and it's also, I used to record tons of auditions, and people would stop themselves mid audition and be like, I messed up that word. And it would be like, first of all, when you go back and look, it's never as bad as you thought it was in your head. That's the first, right. And I mean, that is 100% of the time. You'll be like, I totally stuttered over that word. It's like, you watch it, it's like, no, you didn't actually. Second,
right.
What if it was the best take? And I would say this to students all the time. They'd be going out for movies, big things. They're nervous. They're really focused on how they're being. And so now all of a sudden they're stopping themselves. And it's like, we had gold. Like, we had the best take. And you just stopped it because you thought you said a word wrong. Even if you did, are they not going to give you the role because you said a word incorrectly? Like, if it was the perfect take and it's like they're sitting there getting choked up, like, this is our person, and then you're like, you say like squash weird, and they're like, oh, never mind, they said squash weird. I thought we had next star. But
it's almost like you have to use it as like a metaphor of like playing baseball. Like, you're in the outfield and the ball goes over your head. It's like, well, you don't just like say, okay, well, let's like start over. Let's like do that hit again. Like, you chase after the ball and then go after the ball and throw it in. Like, you keep going. You work right through it. It's like, you don't stop midway because of like what you said. It's like, it could be the play of the game, or like it could be the best take, just go through it. Yeah.
And those moments, going to your sports analogy, like those moments are what make you better. You have to go through the pain. It has to be weird. That was actually my final tip, is just like, you have to push through. The first couple times are going to feel awkward. It'll feel less awkward the more you do it. One of the loan officers here, again, we kind of have a rule of just not shouting anyone out. But I was, the first couple of videos, he was like, I feel so awkward. He was like wearing like clothes he wouldn't normally wear. He was being like, and I'm like, you just be yourself and push through. And now he's putting out like daily videos, like literally daily videos right now. And it's like, it's so him. It's just so natural. And it's like, no one is good or natural at almost anything the first time. Even things you're a natural at, you're still not great. Like, it's just, you got to push through. You got to do it.
Yep.
I think that's personality. Yeah, it's like a ball goes over your head, so you just drop your mitt and walk off the field and just leave. People are like, what are you doing?
I'll do it better next time.
Yeah, well, gotta join a different team. Time to move. Get into a new town. Yeah, don't sabotage. Human beings sabotage themselves a lot. Do everything you can not to sabotage yourself.
Yeah.
All right, so a quick rundown, a recap. Video is more popular on social media right now. The platforms are literally, the algorithm is making it so that you have to do video. You must be out there doing video. It's a way for people to get to know you and see you and hear you. I think for loan officers and real estate agents especially, get video out there. Tell your story. Be yourself. Let people know. It will attract people towards you. It will keep you top of mind. The things you have to focus on, audio, just make sure it doesn't sound horrible. That's all. Not you, the quality. Make sure the quality doesn't sound horrible. Video, make sure it's not too dark or light, center of the frame, talking into the camera. Don't overthink, don't act, don't try to be something you're not. And haters are gonna hate, all right? People are gonna hate it. If they don't like you, they're not gonna like you. Let them go. The people that like you, they're gonna be good clients for a long time.
They're gonna gravitate to you naturally.
I mean, I really do, but it's funny. I'm not the biggest believer in certain like laws of attract, like when it's put in books or whatever. Like I naturally cringe to it a little bit, but I do deep down believe that like if you put something out into the universe, whether it's fate or whether it's just your thought process or whatever, you start going in that direction. And so, keep going in that direction. Do you have any final tips, Joseph?
No, I mean, just get out there and shoot the video. I mean, obviously, we're doing this on a laptop right now. Everybody has a laptop or a computer. Everybody has a phone now that has video recording device. So it's like, I would just implore, everybody just go out there and shoot something. Shoot something today, whether it's 5 seconds, 60 seconds, 5 minutes. Whatever valuable insight that you can share, or even if it's just fun, I don't know, just you at a closing table with whoever you're closing with, or whatever career path you're in. Just think of fun ways to shoot video. There's so many options out there, and you don't have to overthink it. You can make a closing table a fun opportunity to shoot a video with the people that you're in that room with. So I would say just go for it. Obviously, go on YouTube. You can go on YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, wherever there is video. See what other people are doing. You don't have to copy it verbatim, but make it your own. So I would say just go for it.
100%. And listen, if you're watching this somewhere online, we're on YouTube, Mortgage Pro Talk. Please like and subscribe. If you're listening to us on Apple or Spotify or wherever else, if you could leave a review, as long as it's 4 or 5 stars. If you hate us, we want feedback. You can email us at mortgageprotalk@gmail.com. But maybe don't put 1 star. I mean, come on. Am I doing the wrong thing, Joe? I should be inviting real feedback. I guess if you hate us, put 1 star. Whatever you want to do.
I mean, but your next review better be 6 stars.
Right, that's right. That's what I'm saying. Like and subscribe wherever we are. Share with people. We appreciate you for listening to this. We hope it was helpful. If you have any ideas for topics or anything like that, reach out to us either on LinkedIn, Dan Cooley on LinkedIn, Joe Pakula on LinkedIn, or mortgageprotalk@gmail.com. Until next time, Joseph, thank you so much, man.
Thank you. Take it easy.
All right, later.